In addition to service quality, there are many other factors that are driving the need for improvements from IT service providers. Business and mission needs, for example, are driving more complex and sophisticated services as technology and innovation evolve and allow us to do more. Economic and resource constraints. It seems like all of us are always being asked to do more with less, particularly in these challenging fiscal times. Management control and governance. I don't really think we have to look a whole lot further than the current subprime mortgage meltdown or the Enron collapse to understand the vital importance of strong control and governance. Competition, a tremendous driver in the commercial marketplace, but also exerting a significant amount of demand and influence in the government marketplace. And alternative delivery models, shared services, managed services, outsourced services, all place new and interesting demands on IT service providers. And then performance and contract management. Whether insourced or outsourced, services are often subject to service level agreements or SLAs that are closely measured and typically enforced or commonly enforced through legal contracts. So how will we respond to these increasing demands? Well, certainly advances in technology are helping. Virtualization, unified communications, hardware performance improvements, application software design and development tools all help. But in addition, what we also need is improved IT services management to address those demands. IT service management, or ITSM for short, is defined as a set of specialized organizational capabilities that provide value to customers in the form of services, with services being a key part of the definition here, including the design functions and processes used to manage services throughout their life cycle. Recognizing the growing importance of effective IT services management, government and industry have collaborated to develop a set of standards and best practices through various initiatives and publications. ITIL is developed and published by the UK's Office of Government Commerce, and it provides a complete life cycle framework and a very rich body of knowledge that supports the implementation of best practices through effective IT services management. ISO 20000 is a formal and universal standard that is available for those organizations that seek to have their IT service management capabilities audited and then formally certified. COBIT, much like ITIL, is based on a framework and a set of best practices developed by ISACA. It has an emphasis on governance, control, security, and audit, which gives it a slightly different flavor or focus than ITIL does. And OGC and ISACA are working very closely together to ensure that ITIL and COBIT are well aligned and complementary. And then the IT Service Management Forum is an independent, membership-based international organization dedicated to the advancement of IT service management through knowledge sharing, educational, and networking opportunities. ITSMF is very prominent in the development and promotion of ITIL and related best practices, and has established numerous national chapters around the globe and over 40 local chapters in the US. From a services management perspective, ITIL certainly has much to offer. New for version 3, ITIL is based around the concept of a services lifecycle, and the core library consists of 5 in-depth publications. In the center is services strategy, which really provides the foundation for the whole framework. And that's followed by 3 phases, service design, service transition, and services operation. And it's backed by the notion of continual services improvement. The services lifecycle provides a comprehensive approach to services management, helping us to understand its structure, the interconnections between all of the various components, and how changes in any one area will affect the system and the various constituent parts. It's an organizing framework designed to encourage value and sustainable performance. To give you very quickly a better sense of the overall framework, let me briefly walk you through the 5 core publications. Service strategy. The service strategy publication provides guidance for the development of a services strategy to achieve key business outcomes. And as I mentioned earlier, this is really one of the key differences between ITIL version 3 and ITIL version 4, or ITIL version 2, the emphasis around services. And the services strategy publication helps you identify and think about key questions that you need to ask in order to formulate your services strategy, such as how do we create value with IT and ensure that IT is well aligned with the business or with the mission? What services should we offer to our end users and our customers? How do we justify the investments that are required? And how do we define services quality? And if we don't do that up front, it's so much more difficult, as we all know, to try to design those in later. Service design. The service design publication provides guidance for the design and development of services that satisfy business needs and conform to constraints. Like many of the publications, the service design publication not only provides overall guidance on the service design phase of the service lifecycle, but it also provides very detailed guidance and direction around key processes such as catalog management, service level management, capacity and availability management. The service transition publication provides guidance for the test and deployment of new services or service improvements that allow you to make the transition of services from design into operation. Again, you get good guidance on the overall transition process as well as specific details on key processes such as transition planning, change management, configuration management, and release management, which are all critical elements that are necessary to support the transition of a new service into production. The services construct, particularly as it's defined by ITIL, is directly applicable to government. Because when you think about it, government truly is, and its primary function is to be a service provider to citizens. Whether it's national defense or public safety, health and human services, transportation, judicial services, or the National Weather Service, as you'll hear about in a case study later this morning, government's key goal is to provide services. And so I find it interesting but not surprising that even the President's management agenda enforces the notion of government as a service provider, and it maps directly to the service-oriented principles that form the foundation of ITIL. That is, government should provide results or value to citizens by facilitating outcomes that citizens want to achieve rather than being focused on the internal bureaucracy, and that government should promote a culture and environment of continual service improvement through innovation and competition. So what are the ITIL implications for government? Well, I think it's fairly straightforward. Given that the government's role as a service provider is absolutely fundamental, and that information technology is such a critical component of so many services that are being provided today and new services that will be provided in the future, and that demand for service availability, service utility, quality, and efficiency continue to escalate, it's imperative that we adopt a service management set of principles to help us effectively manage these demands and the associated complexity. And when it comes to service management, ITIL has become the obvious choice. It's widely recognized and adopted really throughout the world. It's based on proven best practices and provides clear direction and guidance to practitioners. It was initially developed by government in the UK and has demonstrated success in commercial industry and in government, again, as you'll hear in some of the presentations that will follow this morning. And it's backed by extensive industry expertise, software tools, and training to help you be successful.